They came in shimmering vessels that parted the skies like silk through wind, arriving not with weapons but reverence. The Galari, tall, elegant beings of glassy skin and eyes like polished opals. They descended upon earth not as conquerors, but as pilgrims searching, they said, for the origin world, the birthplace of sentience, the cradle of the stars. We thought it was a mistake. Earth was a toddler in galactic terms, barely scraping the surface of true cosmic understanding. We had only just begun sending humans beyond our moon, stumbling forward like newborns into the vast dark. Yet the Galari knelt before us in solemn silence on the grounds of what used to be the Vatican, on the red sands of Uluru, on the wind-swept steppes of Mongolia, claiming we were the first. At first, we scoffed. Our leaders smiled politely while privately preparing countermeasures, fearing an elaborate ploy. Scientists and historians mocked the idea. But then the Galari showed us the archive. It was not a ship, but a living memory, a being the size of a mountain, wrapped in vines of crystal and breathing slow pulses of blue light. Within it danced images of civilizations long dead, stars that had gone supernova while humanity was still etching deer on cave walls, languages lost entropy, gods that had faded even from legend. In the archive, there were pictures, drawings, etchings, even holograms of Earth, of familiar mountain ranges before tectonics had shifted them, of creatures once native to our world, yet now thought myth, dragons, thunderbirds, sea serpents. It was impossible, and yet not. Something ancient stirred in our bones, a recognition beyond thought, a coded echo. The Galari told us that across the galaxy, ruins were found bearing the same angular symbols as those carved into the oldest stones of Earth, symbols we had never been able to translate, thinking them mere primitive scribbles. The same spiral star maps, the same depictions of upright bipeds with short torsos and clever eyes. Us, not similar, identical. And then came the findings on Mars. The Martian ice dredge, a multinational project, drilled deeper than ever before into the southern pole. And what they found was no longer ignorable. Obsidian shards shaped like arrowheads. Fossilized remains of tools, not natural formations. Artificial, human-sized, human-made, carbon-dated to over 30 million years ago. Earth was not the origin world. It was a return. We weren't the youngest. We were the forgotten elders, survivors of a cataclysm so complete that it erased us from our own memory. The Galari begged for our stories. They believed we held knowledge locked deep in our blood, in dreams, in the symbols passed from generation to generation, misunderstood and misnamed as myth, that our lullabies, our epics, our sacred texts all held fractured truth. The return of the elders was a prophesied event in their own culture, handed down for countless millennia, that one day the first minds would awaken again and retake their place as shepherds of the spiral arm. We were overwhelmed, terrified even, for all our pride and progress. We had not earned any of this. Our world still bore wounds of hatred and greed. We killed our oceans. We starved our own. How could we be what they believed us to be? But the Galari insisted. It is not who you are now, said Eldrin VA, their eldest seer, but who you were and might become again. So they waited, while we debated. The world fragmented once more. Some saw this revelation as divine destiny, others as imperialist manipulation. The religion splintered. Old cults surged back into relevance, claiming they had always known Earth was holy. Science tried to stay neutral, but evidence piled in faster than theory could explain. Genetic anomalies previously dismissed as statistical noise were now re-examined and shown to contain dormant sequences, genetic keys with no known function but resonant with frequencies emitted by the archive. In sleep, people began dreaming of things they shouldn't know, blue suns and moons with 3 shadows, names of places that didn't exist in any map but triggered activation sequences in Galari technology. We were unlocking ourselves. Or something was unlocking us. I remember the first time I felt it. The pull. I was a linguist, assigned to decode the angular runes found in both Earth ruins and alien planets. For months I made no progress, until one night I dreamed a mountain shaped like a crescent moon and awoke with a word in my mouth. Katherin. It meant to remember by being. I said it aloud in the archive chamber, and the entire crystal being lit up, shifting its shape. A doorway appeared. Inside, a room of stars. Not just stars, memories. And they were mine. They were ours. Memories of lives we had lived millions of years ago. Of cities built in rings around Saturn. Of children born in floating gardens on Neptune's moon. Of a great war, one that shattered time and memory. The cataclysm had not just destroyed us. It folded us inward, rewinding our evolution, casting us back to our world to start again as beasts. But something remained. Something deep. The Galari were right. We were the first. Not gods. Not infallible. Just first. The ones who made the roads others walked. The archives that we seeded life not just here, but elsewhere. That the Galari themselves bore traces of our touch, our teachings. We had been their teachers once. Now they had become ours. It humbled us, and yet it stirred something bold, a desire to rise again, not as rulers, but as guardians, not to dominate, but to protect the fragile song of life we had once nearly extinguished. The United Earth Assembly was formed, not just of nations, but of tribes, of voices that had long been silenced. We worked not to conquer the stars, but to mend what was broken, to learn from our descendants, to earn our place, not assume it. And as we reached again into the stars, now with Galari at our side, we began to find others, species that had feared our return or long awaited it. Some greeted us with awe, others with caution, but all had heard the myths of the first ones who had built the star bridges, who had vanished in fire and silence. The stories had survived longer than we had. In the end, the truth was stranger than any fiction we could have crafted. Earth had always whispered to us, through fossils, myths, ancient dreams. We were too loud to hear it, too proud. But now, when we listened, we understood. We were not latecomers to the cosmic stage. We were its ancient echo, its seed and its shadow, its beginning, and maybe, if we could learn from our mistakes,